نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We read one para and another 2 pages on top of one para, so we finished the 14th. Surah Nahl was completed. We started the 15th juz, that is Surah Bani Israel, and covered most part of it. So Surah Bani Israel, from the beginning of the 15th juz to the first half of the 15th juz, has two names, Bani Israel and Isra. Bani means children, Israel, the children of Israel, which refers to the Jews. And the second name is Isra. Why is it Bani Israel? Allah talks about the Jewish people, the people of the Jewish faith in this surah. And the second name is Isra. Isra means to travel at night. Why Isra? Because the incident of Isra, the journey of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the story of Mi'raj has been mentioned here. Isra means to travel at night. Mi'raj means ascension. So Isra is mentioned in this surah. Mi'raj is mentioned in Surah An-Najm in the 27th juz. So this Isra and Mi'raj, two names are there, but sometimes we use the word Isra to refer to both, or Mi'raj to refer to both. Now Israel, we call them the children of Israel or Yahudi, as we say. The reason why we say Yahudi is one of the oldest sons of Yaqub alayhi salam. We discussed Yaqub alayhi salam and his son Yusuf alayhi salam, yes, for the last 2 days. One of the oldest sons' name was Yehuda. That's why this name Yahud or Yahudi comes from the son of Yaqub alayhi salam. These were from the generation of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, and then their generation. One thing to keep in mind, Quran is not a book of stories. It's not a story book. That's why we don't find any story 100% in sequence. Musa alayhi salam's story, little bit is mentioned in this surah, the other little bit is mentioned in another surah. As we mentioned day before yesterday, the most detailed and comprehensive story mentioned in the Quran is the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. And there is also at certain points, it's digressed, only the lessons that need to be there, so me and you can learn the lesson are mentioned there. So likewise, Allah mentions the state of Bani Israel, the children of Israel, how Allah punished them twice in the past. Why has Allah mentioned this? Just to tell us history? No. Allah has mentioned this and revealed this upon the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so me and you can understand that this is the principle and guideline of Allah. If we follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will be merciful on us. Allah will favor us. And if we are deviant, we are disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah's punishment will come upon us, no matter who we are. And the purpose of the punishment is to remind us, make us realize what's wrong so we can fix ourselves. So Allah mentions in the first ruku of this surah that twice we sent a severe punishment on the Jewish people of the Jewish faith, meaning the children of Israel. I'll translate those 3 ayahs inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب. And we declared to the children of Israel in the book, لَتُفْسِدُنَّ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَّتَيْنِ. So Allah is basically informing them, you will surely spread mischief on the earth twice. وَلَتَعْلُنَّ عُلُوًّا كَبِيرًا. And you will surely show utmost haughtiness. When was the first time? فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ أُولَاهُمَا. So when came the time appointed for the first of the two, بَعَثْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ عِبَادًا لَنَا. We dispatched against you some servants belonging to us. Allah did not say my servants. Allah said servants belonging to us because these are non-Muslims. So Allah sent some servants belonging to us. Uli ba'sin shadid. How huge they were? Having strong aggressive power. Fajasu khilal ad-diyar. Who combed through the houses. Remember this word. Combed through the houses. وَكَانَ وَعْدًا مَفْعُولًا. And it was a promise bound to be fulfilled. When we use the comb in the hair, every part of the comb hits the head. It doesn't hurt us, but it touches our head. And it passes through all the hairs. In other words, it fully fixes the hair whichever direction we need to fix. If the comb is not in control of the hair would not be fixed. So now implement this on the ground. If a comb is used to comb every house in the locality, nothing will remain. So this means house to house massacre took place. Not a single soul remained alive when these children of Israel were sent upon. Allah sent His first punishment upon them. So imagine, we can visualize how huge was this massacre, how huge was this punishment. So let's read in the footnotes. The Israeli people have a long history of deviation from the original teachings of their prophets, as narrated by the Bible in detail. As a punishment to their deviation, their enemies invaded upon them many times, but the noble Quran has referred here only to two major events. Punishments more than twice came on them, but Quran mentions only two major events. The first event most probably is that of the invasion of Bukht Nasr, the tyrant of Babylon. It took place in the days of Prophet Jeremiah alayhi salam, who tried his best to bring his nation to the right path, but all in vain. Finally, in 587 before Christ, meaning before the time of Isa alayhi salam, Bukht Nasr, the emperor of Babylon, invaded Jerusalem, demolished Baytul Maqdis. He brought down the masjid that was built by Sulaiman alayhi salam. Today, even the Jewish people refer to this. They say their temple, but it is basically Baytul Maqdis, the masjid. He demolished Baytul Maqdis, annihilated a large number of the Israeli people, and took, meaning killed the most of them, and took others to Babylon as captives. The Israeli people learned a lesson from these events and corrected themselves, meaning they moved near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after this happened. Those captives who were taken to Babylon, and it's a very famous incident even in the English books of history. After a long period of exile, Cyrus, the emperor of Persia, Cyrus is considered the founder of the Persian Empire. Cyrus, the emperor of Persia, meaning the present-day Iran area, it was huge at that time, conquered Babylon and allowed the Israeli people to rehabilitate themselves in Jerusalem and to rebuild the Baytul Maqdis. Once again, Baytul Maqdis was rebuilt. This was the first time. As for the second event, it may possibly refer to the invasion of Antiochus, the Greek tyrant who invaded Jerusalem 175 years before Isa alayhi salam, when the Israeli people went back to their misdeeds and were subjected by him to the similar fate as they suffered at the hands of Bukht Nasr. According to other Mufassirin, the second event was not this Greek tyrant, but rather it is the one that took place in the Roman Empire 70 years after Isa alayhi salam, meaning CE, at the hands of Titus, the Roman emperor, who captured Jerusalem and subjected the Israeli people to a horrible massacre and demolished Baytul Maqdis. Again it was demolished. Okay? And then again it was built. So once again the entire Baytul Maqdis, the borders, the four corners of the masjid are still not built today. Three small masjids are there: the Dome of the Rock, Masjid al-Qibli, and third masjid, I forgot the name of it. So basically, as you might have heard in the news, Haram al-Sharif, the Palestinian people call it Haram al-Sharif, the sacred land. So the Haram al-Sharif is huge, huge. And those three masjids are just covering a small part of Haram al-Sharif. So sometimes nowadays when you see in the news that people are praying Salah and the Dome of the Rock is behind them, so that open area is also part of the original Baytul Maqdis, the Haram al-Sharif. So these are the two major events that came on the people of the Jewish faith. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, I'll just translate it and move forward on one more ayah. وَإِنْ عُدْتُمْ عُدْنَا, that if you are again deviant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. Sometimes we feel that why not the punishment of Allah is coming, and why the people who are so aggressive are doing open oppression, the world is quiet. Where did the human rights go in this case? Everybody is watching this. Allah is also watching this. But when it hits a certain level, the bar, the standard set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When zulm hits that level, then the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. So Allah is, in other words, warning them here, if you do it again, again the punishment of Allah will come upon you. One more ayah and then inshallah we'll wrap up for today. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the 23rd ayah of Surah Bani Israel, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا. Your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him and do good to your parents. So Allah mentions Tawheed here, that you should worship me alone, and right after mentioning His right, Allah mentions the rights of the parents. So this means how important and significant are the rights of the parents on us, their children. The ayah continues, إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرِ أَحَدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا. If any one of them or both of them reach old age, فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Do not say to them uff. The word uff is used in Arabic also and in Urdu also, which means a word or expression of anger or contempt. وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. Do not scold them. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. And address them with respectful words. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ. And submit yourself before them in humility. مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Out of compassion. So humility should be there, and this humility should not be burdensome, should be out of love for them. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. And say, meaning this is how you should make dua for your parents, though they are alive, though they have passed away. رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. My Lord, be merciful to them as they have brought me up in my childhood. So this tells us that how huge are the rights of the parents, whether we are young, whether we are old, whether we like what they say, whether we don't like what they say. Maybe they might be wrong also in certain instances, but their right is so huge that we are not able to fulfill their right, no matter how much we do. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, somebody carried his mom over his shoulders and did the tawaf, the 7 circuits of the Kaaba. And then he asked this question to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that have I fulfilled her right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the pains she had to bear at the time of your delivery, you have just fulfilled some part of it. So imagine the entire life the parents give for us and sacrifice for us. So that's why now the point, the wisdom, why has Allah taught us this dua? That, oh Allah, have mercy on us as they were merciful on, be merciful on them as they were merciful and loving and caring for me when I was young. The hikmah, the wisdom, the ulama say is, the way we are taught to make this dua in these words is because we can never fulfill the rights. So we leave it on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you, based on your shan and caliber, be merciful to them. Okay? So sometimes it happens that we were not so good in their life and they have passed away. And then we realize, is there a way out? Yes, the ulama say there is a way out. We make a lot of dua for them. We do a lot of istighfar for them, seek forgiveness from Allah for their sins. We should read Quran, give charity, do Umrah and Hajj if Allah has allowed us, sponsor causes of deen, and keep in mind that I am sending the reward to them. So when we do like this, the ulama say, it is hope from Allah's mercy that though we have not fulfilled their right, but still Allah will forgive us. Whatever was said and heard, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding. Ameen. Subhanallah wa bihamdih, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa